So today I'm going to look at the best brokerage bonuses, and these are basically Chinese brokers. It's Moomoo, Webull, and Tradup, and they have the most generous bonuses right now. So why do I like these deals right now? Well, if you look at the big brokers that you're probably familiar with, like Charles Schwab, look at what Charles Schwab is paying. To get $1,000, you have to deposit $500,000 or more. And you only get $100 if you deposit $25,000, so not very much. And if we look at E-Trade, E-Trade only pays $250 on $25,000. Now these Chinese-based brokers are basically paying almost $2,000 for this one here. So much more generous. So a lot of you may already have a Fidelity account or Vanguard or something else, and you may be thinking, why should I bother transferring money or starting a new brokerage account? You know, I'm happy with Fidelity. Well, I've got a Fidelity account too. So when you see some of these bonuses, you know, $1,000, $2,000, you know, I start to get interested. And the thing is, if you have a Fidelity account, it costs you nothing to transfer out. So you could do a partial account transfer, a partial ACAT transfer for nothing. Now, most other brokers are going to charge $50, $75, or $100. So setting up the Fidelity account as the sort of hub account for these bonuses, I think is the way to go. And that's kind of how I'm doing it. So what do we have going with Webull? So Webull right now I just did the Mumu one. The Webull one is probably the next one I'm going to do. Now, this Webull one is a little bit more complicated, but I've already deposited money in Webull, and as far as I can tell, I'm still able to do this one. Now, this is a multi-parter, and it's not the easiest in the world. It does require signing up with their premium service, which is, I think, $4 a month or $40 a year. But, you know, what's $40 a year if you're going to get thousands of dollars? So, for example, some of the bonuses start at 10%. So if you did the lower amount, if you deposited or transferred $2,000, that's 10% right there. I don't know anyone that pays 10%. If you did $100,000, it's $2,000. And now that's the one thing all of these have in common is that on $100,000, they pay roughly $2,000. But some of them pay more, a higher percentage at the lower amounts. So this 400, for instance, pays 4% roughly. So if you deposited roughly $10,000, that's 4%. That's higher than any of the other ones that I'm aware of. And the one that I also like about Webull is you don't have to keep the money there for 5 years. You only have to keep the money there for about 15 months. So they pay it out in 12 equal monthly installments. And the first payment starts after the expiration date, which is June 30th of 2025. So I believe it starts paying 45 days after that. And you have to hold the money, I think, 90 days after the last payment. Then you can take the money out and you're not going to lose your bonus. You also get, if you deposit $10,000 or more, you get 12 months of the Wall Street Journal free. That's part of the deal. Now, they also have an IRA one. Now, this one got me excited initially. 3.5%, which is higher than pretty much anyone. But there's a problem with this one. You have a 5-year holding period. So you have to hold the money there for 5 years. And of course, you have to keep premium service for the whole time. So that's $40 a year on top of that. So I'm not going to do this one. This is just too long of a holding period. Okay, we also have Tradup. Tradup is offering 5 free stocks valued up to $9,000. Now that's the deal they have on the website. Now I actually have a deal with the business development at Tradup, and they throw an additional bonus on top of there. So it's basically 5 free stocks up to $9,000, plus you get a free share of Nvidia stock. Now, Nvidia stock's worth, I looked it up today, $142 if you deposit at least $1,000. This is an exclusive deal. You have to find somebody like me for this one. So I'll put a link below on that. So you're getting already over 10% when you factor in the Nvidia. Plus, you have the option of winning free draws for free shares based on the amount you deposit. So if you deposit $100,000 plus, the amount of draws increases based on the amount you deposit. So if you deposit $100,000 plus, you get 5 draws for stocks, free stocks. If you deposit $100, you only get 2 draws. But you need to do $1,000 at least to get the free share of Nvidia. So that's just one promo they have, but they also have a transfer promo. Now they do have this thing here, the Tradup IRA account transfer bonus up to 3%. But I don't like this one either. This one also has a 5-year hold period because it's a retirement account. So if you remove the IRA one and you just do a regular transfer, so instead of clicking on transfer IRA, if we click here on transfer your account to Tradup, they're also offering 3% cash back and up to $300 in transfer credit. Now you're not going to need this transfer credit if you're transferring from Fidelity, but if you're transferring from E-Trade or a broker that charges the fee, then this will definitely help. This deal has been good since August 2024 to September 30th, 2025. Now, I kind of made a mistake in the past, and it's worded in such a way that it sort of looks like you're going to get 3% on up to 100,000, but it's not actually 3%. This is sort of confusing here, but here's what you get. So here's the deal. The cash back is capped at $1,000 on the transfer. So that basically means you're getting 2% on the base. So $1,000 is $50,000. So if you transfer $50,000 or less, you're going to get 2% on that with a maximum of $1,000. But they have a bonus. If you transfer $100,000 or more and maintain for a year, you'll also receive an additional $1,000. So basically $2,000 total you'll be receiving, or 2%. It's not 3%. So that's a little bit confusing. But the great thing about this is it doesn't require holding any more than roughly 12 months. It's not a 5-year hold period. And you get the free transfer credit. So pretty good deals. The next one is Mumu. Now I did this one recently. The deal has changed a little bit. This one, they're also offering Mets tickets now. This one you can get up to 60 free stocks plus 8.1% on your cash that's not invested. Now that's 4.1% plus 4% for an extra 3 months. Now I did this deal recently. I just got it maybe a month or so ago, and I did the opening account. I opened the account, I believe, with $2,000, and I believe you can do up to $20,000 and get this 8.1% for 3 months. And you have to keep the money there for roughly a year, I believe, for this one, for this part here. And I also did a transfer and I received up to 3%, and the max on this is $600. So I transferred $20,000. I received $600 after about 3 months, I think. And now they've changed the deal a little bit. Now, if you transfer $50,000, you'll get 2 Mets suite tickets. But I don't believe you're getting any sort of 3% on top of that, above the $20,000 on this one. Now, I've also thrown in Tastytrade. Now, Tastytrade is not a Chinese-based broker, but I did this one recently and I received $2,000. So basically the same deal. Now, this one I thought was the best deal for $100,000 at 2%, but the others are also offering a 2% with the exception of Moomoo. And what I like about Tastytrade is it doesn't require signing up for any premium service. It's very simple. You can transfer over the money and you only have to keep it there for 12 months. So I just transferred some money out of the account already. I've already received this bonus after keeping it there for 12 months. And it is a little bit technical. If you're not used to options, the interface is a little bit difficult, but I managed to keep it there for a year and still buy some stocks with them. Now, all 3 of these brokers that I mentioned, they're all publicly traded, worth billions of dollars. So you've got Webull, I think they just went public recently. Now you also have the parent company of Tradup. It's worth over $1 billion. And all of these are licensed to do business in the United States. They're regulated. They're licensed to do business in all the US states. They all have SIPC coverage, just like any legitimate brokerage. Now, some of these deals, they're not going to last forever. The one there's 2 of them that end basically June 30th. This exclusive deal that I have with Tradup, this deal ends June 30th. And this is the one where you get the free share of Nvidia stock if you deposit $1,000 or more. And you get the free stock draw. This one ends June 30th. Also, this Webull 2025 anniversary promotion also ends on June 30th. And as far as being one of the more generous ones, I think Webull is probably the most generous, especially at the low end. You saw that 10% return, but it does require a little bit of work. It does require signing up with Webull Premium, which is $40 a year, and you have to maintain it for the whole. And you have to maintain it for the whole roughly 12 to 15 months that you'd be holding this. For simplicity, if you don't want to have to do that extra step with the premium, I would say Moomoo, Tradeup, or Tastytrade. But I would only recommend Tastytrade for the $100,000 plus bonus, the $2,000. If you look at the lower amounts, the Chinese brokers are offering more of a bonus on the lower amounts. Now, which of these accounts has a high yield savings account, sort of like Fidelity has? Well, Mumu has this at 8.1%. You've got a high 4.1% APY base on your idle cash, and it's automatic. So the money that gets dumped there, you don't have to manually transfer like with Public and some other brokers. It's automatic, just like Fidelity. Also, Webull has a cash management account. Unfortunately, this one, in order to get the higher 4.1% base, requires premium, and then you basically get the same 8.1% that you get with Mumu. Now, Tradup is a little bit different. I would say that they don't have a high yield savings account or a cash management account. Now, I'm saying that Tradup doesn't have a cash management account while looking at it, basically because this is very complicated. So if you hold the money there for so many days, the rate goes down very, very low. So I'm looking at something that's long term. This is a very complicated cash management account. If we actually look at days since enrollment, the APY, it starts out low. It gets up to about 4.07, but after 106 days, depending on the amount, it could be as low as, if it's less than $10,000 that you have, only 0.25%. So I'm just going to say, for simplicity, this one doesn't have a cash management account or a high yield account for the dividends and idle funds. Another one that pays nothing and doesn't have a cash management account is Tastytrade. You'll receive 0 on your idle cash. And so what I did when I parked my money here at Tastytrade is I bought USFR, which is a US Treasury short term, or I bought SGOV, SGUV. So they pay roughly 4.5%, 5.5%. So, but it's a lot of extra work. So every time you get a dividend payment, you got to basically buy that to maximize your cash return. Now, all of these accounts that I've mentioned have a transfer out fee when you transfer your account out to another broker. And all of them are $75, including Tastytrade, except Tradup is only $50. So it's a little bit cheaper on this one. And also, all of them, as far as I know, don't have a voluntary reorganization fee. Tradup has a $25 reorganization fee. So for mergers and acquisitions, that sort of thing, you may get hit with a $25 fee if you don't sell the stock first. And the one thing that Tradup has that the others don't is it's got one of the lowest margin interest rates. Now, Webull has it beat, but you have to have the premium service and a high amount. It goes as low as 4.65. And I don't believe you have to have any particular amount for this one. Also, Tradup has a generous $300 transfer credit, and Webull has a $75 to $100 transfer credit reimbursement. But I couldn't find anything on Mumu for the transfer fee reimbursement, so I don't believe Mumu has that. And Tastytrade will also reimburse transfer fees up to $75. Now, as far as the interface and trading options for each of these Chinese-based brokers, I would say that they're all basically almost identical. If you look at the desktop app, which I have here on Mac OS, unfortunately, they don't have an option to increase the size on the Mac version, and they're all consistent with that. So this one right here is Mumu. So this is Mumu right here. You'll see it's a very similar interface. It's a very similar login. And now we're looking at Tradup. Tradup has a very similar interface also. And now we're looking at Webull. Webull also has a very similar interface. Now, both Tradup and Webull have web trading. So if you're on a Mac like me and you don't want to deal with the tiny text on the desktop version, which is only basically an app, then you can trade using the web version. Now I'm on the web version of Tradup, and you can actually scale the text larger or smaller, which is nice, especially if you're using a Mac. Now, all of these accounts have this same password thing when you basically go to log in. Now, this is the web interface for Webull. As you can see, you can increase or decrease the size of the text. But the one thing you may notice is that Mumu has no web interface. So if you're someone who's using a Mac like I am, and you want to use the desktop interface, unfortunately, Mumu has no web interface. So you either have to do the app, the mobile app on your phone, or you have to download the desktop version. And if you're using a Mac version like me and you've got a huge monitor, you may have issues with scaling, and you basically have to change the resolution for your entire monitor in order to get something that's usable. So that's definitely a downside that I don't like about Moomoo. But out of all of them, I think Moomoo is probably the most polished. I've been using that the most. And there's a lot of perks. When you sign in each day, they're offering lots of stocks. And it just seems like they have the least amount of text errors that you see with a lot of these accounts. So anyways, I'll put some links below. If you want to sign up with my referral link, it'll help me out. I'd like to thank everyone that signed up via my link. Now, the $2,000 Tastytrade bonus is a little bit different. The bonus promo code to get the bonus is MyNewBonus. And if you click on my referral link, you'll see the promo code MyNewBonus and my referral code. So just click that. It'll help out the channel. You'll also get the $2,000 on $100,000 transfer or deposit. You have to hold it there for roughly 12 months. Also, I'll post the Tradeup Nvidia free Nvidia stock sign up offer, and you could also do the transfer offer. And I'll post a link for the Webull bonus, that very generous Webull bonus that requires the premium subscription. So check for that link below. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.